Om. Om. Sahana bhavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the Lord protect us. May He nourish us. May we acquire the capacity to study and understand the scriptures. May our study be brilliant and may we not cavil at each other. Om peace, peace, peace unto us all.
Sairam, and welcome to the Sri Sathya Sai Center of Arcadia, and a very warm and special welcome to our special guest speaker tonight, Rushi Thanawala from New Jersey. He is a young adult, and we're all in for a wonderful treat tonight. And let me read Brother Rushi's bio, and then I will hand it over to him. Rushi Thanawala is fortunate to have been born into a family that has been devoted to Bhagawan for more than 55 years. He has undergraduate degrees in biology and music and is currently pursuing an MBA. Currently, he works as a supervisor of bioanalytical research in a leading pharmaceutical company. Rushi has served various roles in the SSSIO, including YA coordinator in Philadelphia, devotional coordinator in Jersey City, and the co-lead of the International Young Adults Ocean of Music Subcommittee. He currently serves as the Deputy International Young Adults Coordinator of the Sri Sathya Sai International Organization, as well as the Vice President of the Sai Center of Jersey City. His greatest passion is Bhajans. He has been singing Bhajans, playing Tabla, and composing Bhajans since his childhood. So he has a wonderful resume. Brother Rushi, welcome to the Sathya Sai Center of Arcadia. We're very grateful for you. And I'm going to let you take over. Sairam.
Sairam, thank you so much, sister. Sarvaroopadharam Shantam Sarvanamadharam Shivam Satchidanandam Advaitam Satyam Shivam Sundaram Krishna Murari Bhavabhayahari He Giridhari Gopal Partivihari Hridaya Vihari Bhakta Sakha Bhagavan He Partivihari Hridaya Vihari Bhakta Sakha Bhagavan Bhakta Sakha Bhagavan Bhakta Sakha Bhagavan. I offer myself at the divine lotus feet of my Guru, God and best friend, Bhagawan Shri Sathya Sai Baba. Loving Sairams to all of you, respected elders, and my dear brothers and sisters. Thank you so much for this beautiful opportunity to join together with all of you on this beautiful rainy Thursday evening here in New Jersey. And it's such an honor and privilege to be with all of you today. As the last line of the bhajan that I just offered goes, Bhakta Sakha Bhagavan, that God, Bhagavan, who we lovingly know as Shri Sathya Sai Baba, is our eternal companion. He is our best friend. And so whenever I've had the opportunity to address Swami, I've always addressed him as these three things, as my Guru, my God, and best friend. Firstly, what is this Guru? We all know that Guru is one who helps us on the path of spirituality, the one who shows us, takes us from darkness to light, from ignorance to knowledge, from death to immortality. There is a popular doha or couplet by Saint Kabir Das which goes, Guru Govind dono khade kakela gopal बलिहारी गुरु आपके गोविंदियो बता. Both the Guru and the God are standing next to each other side by side, and they have presented themselves before me. To whom do I owe my obeisances to first? The couplet goes on to say, of course I offer my salutations at the feet of the Guru, for it is the Guru that shows me the way to Govind or God. Thankfully, dear brothers and sisters and respected elders, us being the contemporaries of the Purna Avatar, the Paripurna Avatar, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagawan Shri Sathya Sai Baba, this choice was something we were never faced with. We are all so blessed to be steeped in the love of Bhagawan Shri Sathya Sai Baba. Once Swami was having a session with the students and the elders in Trai Brindavan, Swami's ashram in Bangalore, and Swami had asked one of the elders to speak. And out of their enthusiasm, this elder proclaimed, saying, we have done good karmas and attained good punyas from so many lifetimes, and that is the reason why today we are seated in the presence of Bhagavan. After his talk was done, Swami gently reminded all of the students and all of those in that gathering, saying that this individual has spoken that it is because of all of that good karma and that punyam that you have all here, all of that purva janma sukritam. But it is in fact that the name and form of Shri Sathya Sai is so powerful that within one mere glance of his divine form, within one time that we hear the name Shri Sathya Sai, we hear Sairam, that in itself is enough to exhaust all of that punyam from all of our past hundreds of lives and the lives of our ancestors as well. Anything that we receive beyond that is because of Bhagavan's compassion, because of Bhagavan's love, and because he has chosen us. As Bhagavan's poem famously goes, when we said yes to Bhagavan, we gave up the right to be like everyone else. And so, one axiom that I strongly believe in is that we think that we need to become these great servants, or we need to go and learn so much and to become these scholars in philosophy in order to understand Swami. But I would like to believe that Swami does not call the equipped, he equips the called. He has called us so that he can mold us into his chosen instruments. There have been numerous times in my life where Swami has shown his presence, as I'm sure with all of you here, respected elders, have had decades and generations of stories. And so anything that I share today is just a drop in this ocean, in multiple oceans that are sitting here on the Zoom call in front of me. What I choose to offer today is but a drop of that divine ocean at Swami's lotus feet and to the Swami within all of you. And so Swami is our eternal companion, and as the way I perceive Swami in my life is that he's always been there for me as my best friend. And Swami has said so many times that God is the only true friend. Many of you may know this one story. Swami was interacting with a small primary school child and a small boy from the primary school, and Swami asked him, "Boy, where is your brother?" And Swami said, the boy said, "Swami, he's at home." Swami said, "What about all of these boys surrounding you? They're all your brothers." Then the next day, Swami came and asked that boy, "Where are all your sisters?" Again, he gave a similar answer, saying, "Swami, my sister is back home." Then Swami pointed to the lady's side, saying, "These are all these girls, all of these sisters. These are all your sisters." Then the next day, Swami came and asked him, "Where are all your friends?" Now, this boy had learned by now. And he said, "Swami, all are my friends." And Swami said, "No, I am your only true friend." And so, in this ocean of friendship, in this ocean of love that Swami is, and that all of you are, I choose to glean just a few drops and share some stories, some experiences in which I have felt that Swami has truly been my only friend. With Swami's grace, I was blessed to be born into a family that has came to Swami in the early 1960s. And so after I was born in 1995, in my home, of course, pictures of Swami on every wall, Swami's name being used in almost every sentence, every conversation beginning with Sai Ram, the day not beginning without Gayatri, Sai Gayatri and Vibhuti being applied by my mother lovingly on my forehead. And so, ever since I was born, not by choice, but almost by force, there was nothing that I knew other than Shri Sathya Sai. This was the only thing that I have ever known until date. I am so humbly submit myself in gratitude to Swami that I have never had to go out and search for him. Many of you, dear elders, have so many beautiful experiences of how you came to Swami. Swami has brought people into his fold by curing health problems, through his avenue of Sai Bhajans, which I'll talk about a bit later. Through so many miraculous incidents, Swami has brought people into his fold. But as Sai young adults and SSC children, many of us are so blessed that we were born into Swami's fold. I'd like to say on a light note that Swami kind of got us free of cost without having to show us some grand vision or some grand experience, because he has been with us from the day we were born, from the day we have existed in this worldly plane. Swami has been our constant companion. And so, as I began to grow older, attending SSC classes, of course, talking about Swami and hearing about Swami as, "Oh, we always hear Swami's our best friend, Swami's our best friend." And this sentence gets on repeated and repeated in SSC classes and study circles. And so, one time, it was my first day of high school, and I went to a high school where the dress code, you had to wear a suit, a tie, and go in a formal business attire to school every day. So it was my first day of 9th grade. I wore my suit, I had my tie, and just that year, my grandmother had gifted me a golden necklace with Swami's pendant, a picture of Swami in a golden pendant on it. And so I wore my suit, shirt, tie, and I put the necklace on, and I put the pendant right on top of my tie knot so that it's visible. And so I got in the car, and my mom drove me to school, and she noticed the necklace hanging outside on my tie. And she started accosting me, saying, "What are you going to say to friends who ask you who this is? You should keep the shirt, you should keep the pendant inside your shirt. This is, it's your first day of high school, you're trying to make new friends. How will you be approachable to people if you have Swami's picture hanging outside?" And for some reason, I just didn't pay heed to it. I was being slightly rebellious, and I refused to listen to my mom. Because at that age, I was 13 years old, I thought wearing a gold necklace on your top of your suit was the cool kid thing to do. And so I wore this necklace, and I'm like, for me at that time, it wasn't really much about the Swami pendant. It was more about, this is bling, this is going to make me look like the popular kid in 9th grade. And so I wore this necklace, I go into school, and my mom is still telling me, put it inside, put it inside. I left it outside, and then the first class of the day, we had an icebreaker game that was played in that class. And the icebreaker was everybody got a random old magazine that the teacher distributed, and you were supposed to pick a color, your favorite color, and cut out pictures from the magazine in that color and then stick them together to form some kind of message. And so I got this magazine. It was a travel magazine. There was a model on the front, and there were all these articles about flights and different Caribbean islands and all these beautiful travel destinations. And as every magazine would have it, there's a subscriber card in that magazine so that if you would want to subscribe to that, you can fill it out, send it to them, and pay the dues and get the magazine subscribed to your home. And so this magazine that I had got, the subscriber card was actually sticking just outside the magazine. And so my first instinct was to open the magazine to that page. I opened the magazine. Lo and behold, right in front of me is a picture of an altar where you have Shirdi Sai Baba, Sathya Sai Baba, and Swami's throne right in the middle. The article is about Diwali celebrations, and they're displaying how people decorate their homes for Diwali. And as an example, lo and behold, we have this beautiful altar of Swami right there in the middle of this travel magazine where you would least expect it. And so through this incident, I knew that, and when I went home and told my mom, this is what happened at school today, and of course I asked permission from the teacher to keep the magazine. I don't have it in me right now, else I would have loved to show it to all of you. When I took this home to my mom and she saw this, she was blown away. And she made me realize in that moment, see, it is not I may have the best intentions for you. I may always be there to look out for you. But at the end of the day, it is Swami who is there with you every single moment of the day. Similarly, another incident happened just a few months ago at work, wherein I was reviewing I work in the pharmaceutical industry, and I was analyzing some data to submit to the FDA, and I had completed all the statistics part of it, and I had submitted the data to the reporting department to put together a nice package to submit to the FDA. And so the reporting person was late on a Friday night, and it was the report had to go out quite urgently. And so the reporting associate came to my office and said, "Hey, Rushi, I've left this report in your inbox. Just review it and approve it and send it off when you get a chance." I said, "Great." And then before he left my office, he actually stopped and asked, "Hey, man, like you just you're only 26 years old. You just became a supervisor in this company, and you have such a good team. Your team has a great dynamic. Your team is doing a lot of great things for the company. What drives you? What is it that makes you different from everybody else?" And of course, in that moment, I wanted to praise Swami, because all the credit, anything that I am, the fact that I'm even sitting here and speaking, and the fact that we even all know each other is because of Swami. So obviously my first instinct was to talk about Bhagawan and narrate to him about all of Swami's beautiful teachings, but something inside me was inhibiting me. How, again, that same doubt, what will people think? What will he think if I start talking about Swami? There's a popular, corporate rule that you're not supposed to talk about religion and spirituality in the workplace. And so, all of these thoughts were brimming in the back of my mind. But then he saw that on my desk was a water bottle that we had gotten for one of our regional retreats here, and it had our SSSIO logo on it with the 5 human values. And so he started asking me, "Hey, what do these 5 human values mean?" And so once he opened the can of worms, I was ready to spread the rainbow color of the color of rainbow out from Pandora's box and talk my heart out about Swami. And talked about all the wonderful work that we do as an organization, as a young adults wing, all the different activities that we have in over 110 countries, and all of the different initiatives that our organization does. And, I even showed him our, satyasai.org website, and we had a wonderful conversation, and he left feeling very uplifted and very happy after that conversation. He leaves my office, and then I turn around to my computer to go review this report. And every report is assigned a particular number once it's generated by the reporting team. Lo and behold, the number for this report was 112326, November 23rd, 1926, which is the birthday of our beloved Bhagawan. And so there have been so many incidences in which Swami has shown that he is truly our best friend. He is our companion. He is our constant, eternal companion. Of course, when Swami left his physical form in 2011, it left a void in all of our hearts. And life has, as much as we want to say that life is pretty much the same and we've moved on, life really isn't much the same. And it's the same in many ways, and that nothing can change the omnipresence and the grandeur of Swami's love, and the ability in which we can perceive him has not changed. But there have been some things that have changed, and of course, it's when we think about it, we miss Swami every day, and we may feel sad, but in fact, I feel that we should be honored that we're not missing some human being or someone mundane. We are here experiencing the same emotions that the Gopikas experienced when Krishna abandoned Vrindavan and went to Mathura. We are experiencing the same pangs of separation when Rama went away from Ayodhya into the forest for a whole year into exile. For 14 years he went into exile, and the pangs of separation felt by Dasharatha, felt by his family, by Kausalya, Sumitra, and all of the denizens of Ayodhya, the pangs of separation that they felt. We are in fact blessed to feel that kind of pangs of separation. But of course, in that pang of separation, in those moments, we find the eternal presence and the eternal light of our beloved Lord. Aradhana Day, of course, for many reasons, it's a beautiful day. The day when Swami left his physical form and entered into our hearts and made us realize that he is always present forever in our hearts. But of course, there's always a little bit of bittersweetness to that day, especially because my closest physical experiences with Swami had happened just prior to the Samadhi in July of 2010, when we had the SSSIO USA National Pilgrimage. If there's time, I'll get to that story. But, Aradhana Day there's always some feelings of sadness and reminiscence and longing that naturally occur in our hearts on that day. And so in 2019, we had Aradhana Day celebrations here in New Jersey. And a couple days later, I was driving to work. I was listening to the recordings of the Aradhana Day celebration, and we had sung this devotional song, Hum Tere Sai, Hum Tere. And that song was so beautiful because, when we're, as someone who sings and helps with the sound system at the center and stuff, during the program itself we're busy in the heat of the moment trying to make sure everything is sounding good, the music is going well, the sound levels are balanced. And so during that program I was not really paying attention, but now when I was driving to work and listening to this recording, the feelings and the emotions of that song finally hit my heart. Hum tere hai Sai, hum tere hai, we are yours Sai and you are ours. And so I started shedding a tear and my eyes became a little moist as I was listening to this song, and suddenly my tire goes flat. I was running late for a meeting. I had no idea what to do. I don't know how to change a tire, even though I had a spare sitting in my trunk. I was able to pull into a gas station off to the side of the road. And I was so frustrated in that moment. I'm like, I'm driving to work. I'm having this beautiful, blissful, devotional experience. And now I have a sitting here with a flat tire. What do I do? And so I drive into the gas station and the associate there mentions, hey, there's a tire shop just about 150 feet down the road. Why don't I help you, put your car in neutral, and why don't I help you push your car there? I said, great. I go there. I had a brand new tire on my car. With just maybe a 20-25 minute delay, I was off and on my way to work. I reach work, I open my laptop, and as my mother has instilled this habit in me that every day we should read the thought for the day that comes from Prashanti Nilayam, or the Sai Inspires. So every day I read that thought for the day, and as soon as I log in to my computer at work, I go through that message and go about my day. And so, as is my habit, I open my laptop, I log into my email, and I open Swami's message for that day. And I was shocked when I started reading this message. This was on April 26th, 2019. And the message goes, and I quote Swami, "I feel hurt when anyone calls India deficient or poor. It may be that some people are unaware of the methods of becoming rich or may not care to adopt them, but most people know the means of getting inner peace. You should demonstrate through your lives that spiritual discipline makes one happier and more courageous to fight the battle of life. This is your good fortune. The world today is suffering from too much knowledge. Virtue has not increased in proportion to the advances of knowledge. That is the root cause of misery in human society." Now, the next part of this message is what blew my mind. Of the two tires of the vehicle that humanity is riding, the tire of divinity or Brahman is flat, and it must be filled by pumping the Lord's name into it. You cannot drive very far with a flat tire. Therefore, join holy association, cultivate good activities, and derive joy therefrom. From Bhagawan's Divine Discourse on April 30th, 1961. And so that message coming on that very same day that I had a flat tire, Swami is again showing his presence by addressing that very same situation. And so when we have experiences like this, and I'm sure these are minuscule, just tiny grains in this ocean of experiences that all of you have, but just reminders for myself that when we address Swami as our best friend, it's not just empty words, it really means something. And when we put that intention into the universe, when we put that intention into our hearts, that Swami truly is our best friend, with any way possible, Swami will always make it known to us. He will show his presence in our lives. And when we say Swami is our best friend, Swami is our best friend, as Swami has said about mothers, there's a popular adage that goes, because God could not be with every child, he made mothers. Similarly, I have a personal belief that because God could not be with everyone, he created this concept called friendship. And it is through avenues such as the Sri Sathya Sai International Organization, and especially being in the young adults program, is where we meet so many like-minded individuals. With Swami's grace, thanks to the SSSIO, of course, it has given me the life skills such as leadership, effective communication, of course, through the Sri Sathya Sai International Leadership Program and all of the leadership experiences that Swami has given me through the organization. Of course, I've learned very important life skills that have helped me in my academic and professional career. But another gift that I have received from Swami through the organization is this gift of friendship. And because there are so many young adults, thousands of young adults around the world, in just a couple of weeks, I'm going to be flying to Greece for the 4th European Sai summer camp there and meeting all the young adults. Do I know all of them there? Maybe I know the zonal young adult coordinators and maybe the NYACs, but I don't know many much more beyond that. But the beauty of being a Sai young adult is you go to any corner of the world, all you have to say is Sairam, and you have unlocked the door to a family of brothers and sisters, aunties and uncles who are open to willing their doors to you, regardless of where you are from, what your name is, what gender you are. They're the Sai family that Swami has created through this organization is so strong, and this gift of friendship that he has given us. My lifelong best friends have entered my life through the Sai organization. And so we say that yes, Swami is our best friend, but I personally believe that whoever takes us closer, yes, Swami is our only true best friend, and there is no true best friend other than Swami. But those who take us closer to God, take us closer to Swami every day, in essence, are our friends. As Swami has said, as it's said in the Purusha Suktam, Sahasra Shirasha Purushaha Sahasrakshas Sahasrapad. This Lord has 1,000 eyes and 1,000 arms and 1,000 legs. What is being described is not some monstrous creature, because eons ago, when these mantras were revealed to the sages, there were only 1,000 people on this planet. So the point of this mantra is that there are every limb, every eye that exists in the humanity that is currently existing in this world is nothing but a manifestation of God, is nothing but a manifestation of Swami. And so through the Sai organization, I've come to see small pockets of this divine love, this divine power within so many people. Swami has told us so many times that we have to see God in everyone else. We have to see God in everyone else. The SSSIO is the best training ground for this, because we are all coming together. We're already coming together with that like-minded philosophy. And so if we are able to see each other and see each other as one family and remain united as one Sai family, then we to see God in others outside the organization will become that much easier. And of course, I walked through a few experiences where I talked about Swami, or shared about Swami's glory to someone outside the organization, someone who was not necessarily familiar with Swami's name or form. Of course, in the correct cultural context, in the correct manner in which it should be done, we should never be shy of being proud of our heritage, of our Sai heritage, that we are the chosen children, the chosen emissaries of Swami's light. Because as Swami himself had said, that just hearing the name of Sai is equivalent to thousands of births, thousands of lives of good karma. When we mention the name of Sri Sathya Sai, of course, we are not ones to defend Swami. We are not ones to proselytize his name or form. We need to be his living messengers. We need to live his message. But just someone even asking us, hey, who is this? And they even hear the name of Sathya Sai. We are giving them, that individual, the gift of thousands of lifetimes of good will and good karma, because the name of Sai has now fallen on their ears. But the only way to get there is that we need to become his chosen instruments, that we need to become and live that message of Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema, and Ahimsa. And so through this organization, especially for young adults, we gather so many good friends, such good company. Swami has always said, you tell me your company, I will tell you who you are. Swami has said ABC, avoid bad company. And so when we have the satsanga, we have this good company through the organization, we are of course steering ourselves on the right path towards that ultimate goal of seeing Sai in others, seeing God in everyone around us. And so through these experiences in the SSSIO, I have had so many opportunities to meet YAs from around the world, meet so many respected senior leaders from around the world, and learn from them, and learn from so many YAs all over the world. And I am so grateful for all the opportunities that Swami has given me to serve in his organization, that he himself has started more than 50, 60 years ago. Um, in 2019, I received a call from Sister Roshni Vishwanathan, who was the Deputy International Young Adults Coordinator at the time, saying that, would you like to lead the Love All Serve All subcommittee? At that time, it was known as Love All Serve All. Now it's known as the Ocean of Music. And, as we would want to always serve Swami, and music has been such an important part of my life, of course, I said yes, and that opened so many doors of meeting so many people, so many YAs, and experiencing Swami's love through music from around the world. And of course, especially we felt this in the pandemic, we're working hard on all of these online programs, spending so many countless nights putting together worldwide Akhanda Bhajans, Mahashivratri Akhanda Bhajan, Swami's birthday, so many long programs, especially, so much fantastic work is done by our digital team of the SSSIO and the media team of the young adults join together, and we come together and put together these online programs. But after all of these programs are done, I just sit and think, if there's a fire, whatever your intention is, if you want to cook something on the fire, or you want to just see the fire or get light from it, whatever your intention is, if you go near the fire, it is impossible but to not feel the heat of that fire. If you're going near a fire, whatever your intention is, you will always feel the warmth of that fire. Similarly, while our intention might be to edit this audio file, or edit this video, or edit this document, in doing all of this, we are editing Swami's video. We are editing audio which contains Swami's name, Swami's voice. We are editing and reviewing and writing documents which contain Swami's name. And so, though the intention is to do work, and of course it is a pure intention to do Swami's work, because we are writing his name, writing all of these articles and updates, it's, for me, honestly, it's almost like a form of likita japam. Editing all of these darshan videos is almost, editing all of these videos that we have for the online programs. To me, it's almost like having darshan of Swami live in person. Editing so many bhajans and audios is almost like, for me, sitting in a live bhajan session, and being in Swami's presence, sitting there and singing in front of him. Because at the end of the day, though the intention is to do something, though there is a task at hand and deliverables to be achieved, end of the day, we are immersing ourselves in Swami's name, and we are steeping in that sweetness, in that sweet rasa. There's a beautiful South Indian Carnatic song that goes Pibare Ram Rasam Rasane Pibare Ram Rasam Janam Maran Bhaya Shoka Viduram Sakala Shastra Nigamagam Saram. This rasa, this sweet juice of Rama's name, of Sai's name, is what is going to take us across this ocean of life. It is what is going to take away all our burdens, all of our pains. And so I have so much gratitude and humility for this organization, so much love that Swami showered on all of us through his organization, and given us an avenue to serve him, given us an avenue to meet like-minded people and serve in his divine name. More recently, in November of this year, Brother Deviyesh, who was the international young adults coordinator at the time, called, and I actually wanted to step down as the co-lead of the Ocean of Music Subcommittee, because just this past September, I started working on my MBA. I do my MBA part-time and I work full-time. And so in order to make time, of course, as Swami has said, work is worship and duty is God. And aligning with those principles, I wanted to actually take a step back. And so I had called Brother Deviyesh to ask if I could take a step back. I would be a key, member of the team and contribute, but I would like to take a step back so that I can focus on my academics and, my career. And we played some phone tag, and finally he called me back and said, we exchanged a few pleasantries, and I expressed my feelings to him, saying like, brother, I'd like to, by the end of the year, transition out of my role as the co-lead. And he said, not so fast. I said, what do you mean, brother? And I'm like, would you like to serve as a deputy international young adults coordinator? And honestly, I thought he was completely joking. I literally laughed it off, and he's like, "No, brother, bro, have a serious think about it. I'm not laughing. I'm not trying to create this a joke. Have a think about it." And this was right before the Akhanda Bhajan that year, and I had the honor to attend an Akhanda Bhajan in person this past November. And so he said, "You're going to the Akhanda Bhajan. Take the 24 hours and think about it, and get back to me." So I attended the Akhanda Bhajan. And obviously, in setting up the sound system and the altar and the decorations and lighting, I totally forgot. And it's about 4 a.m. I'm playing tabla, and my hands start to hurt. And in that moment of pain, the thought again arises in my mind: what should I answer to Deviyesh when I call him on Monday? And so something inside me said, you know what? You should say yes. You should say yes. And suddenly, The altar that was there in the Akhanda Bhajan was pink, gold, and blue. And a small little piece of a gold sequin, a little confetti type of piece, came and fell on my right knee. And I noticed it, and I was having this thought at that same time. So I took it as Swami's indication that you should say yes. Because of course, when, as Swami again has said in his beautiful poem, when you said yes to me, you gave up the right to be like everyone else. And so I called Brother Devesh the Monday after Akhanda Bhajan, and I called him and I said, brother, if the opportunity is there, I would be honored to serve Swami in this capacity. And he said, great, let me speak to Dr. Narendranath Reddy and Prashanti Council and get back to you. And so he gets back to me the next day, and I still remember the exuberance with which he called me, saying, when I brought up your name to Dr. Reddy, he actually had your name in mind as well, even without me mentioning your name to him. And I narrated also what had happened to me during the Akhanda Bhajan. And so it was just shown to us that, what, this opportunity was given by Swami. Yes, through the auspices of the Sri Sathya Sai International Organization, with the approval of Prashanti Council and everyone else, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity to serve Swami. But end of the day, it was he who gave this opportunity, and I said yes. And I had a wonderful call with Dr. Reddy, to confirm the appointments, and the announcement was made on Swami's birthday, serving alongside Sister Shruti Vijay Kumar and Sister Vahini Pillai. And then just one day after, I'll backtrack just a little bit. I was not so satisfied with my job that I was working at come about September, October of 2021. And so I had started applying to some different jobs. I was working as a senior scientist at the time, and I was applying to similar senior scientist roles in different pharmaceutical companies. And at my company itself, there was a position open for the supervisor role, Supervisor of Bioanalytical Research. And I didn't even think twice about it, but one of my colleagues suggested, like, hey, you lead a lot of projects, you should probably apply, you'd be a great fit. And I just blew him off. I didn't think twice about it. But anyways, I thought about it, and after he prodded me on 2-3 times, I thought, let me apply. If I get the interview, at least, I won't have to travel anywhere. I'll use it as a practice interview for all the other applications that I've put in. And so I did the interview completely haphazardly, without much preparation. I did the interview and totally forgot about this application. I'm applying to other jobs meanwhile, this appointment of serving Swami as a deputy IYAC happens. And I had said yes to Devesh, Brother Devesh. I had the call with Dr. Reddy. And just the day after, at work, I get a call from HR during lunchtime saying, hi, Rushi, we'd like to speak to you about your application for the Supervisor of Bioanalytical Research role. And I knew it in my head, this is going to be my rejection. They're telling me I'm not accepted, and great. I was already prepared for it. And they start saying, we reviewed your resume, and the management team gave great feedback about your application and your interview, and we'd like to offer you the role. And I was so flabbergasted at that point. I actually went outside in the courtyard of the company with my phone because I could not contain my excitement. I had received this opportunity to further in my career, and it's so clearly that it's shown by Swami that when we said yes to doing his work, we always say this phrase, right? Swami has said this phrase to us so many times. When you do my work, I will do your work. When you do my work, I will do your work. And in SSC, we are trained to repeat these phrases like robots almost, but these get built in the inner psychology of our brains. As children, we may not realize it at that time, but it is in moments like this that those words that were instilled in us by our SSC gurus in group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, these words then manifest later in our lives. And I could not be more grateful for all of my SSC gurus, and of course my parents, who brought me up in this consciousness that if we do Swami's work, he is always there to do our work. Of course, duty is God, work is worship, and we do our best. Of course, we do our best, and then God does the rest. Human effort is absolutely important, but as is stated in the Bhagavad Gita by Lord Shri Krishna, we should aim to do nishkama karma. We offer every act as an offering to Swami. If we want to do well at work, we should do well at work so that people think good of us, so that at the end of the day they think well of Swami, because we are his children at the end of the day. I would like to end by narrating some of my experiences with Swami through bhajans. Of course, I know we're at the end of the clock, but I'll just take another maybe 2 minutes.
So, Sairam Rushi, we need that Hanuman story, please. Hanuman story your birth. That's very, very nice. Not many people know about it. Please share that.
Okay, sure. I'll tie it into this. Thank you for reminding me, Krishna uncle. So bhajans has definitely been, a very important part of my life, and I, I believe that for me, it's my meditation, because during bhajans is the only time that my monkey mind can sit and focus on one thing, and that is Swami. I feel personally that I am my truest, purest self sitting in a bhajan session, playing tabla, singing my heart out for Swami, and it is in that moment where I feel his presence the most, especially in moments where he inspires new compositions of bhajans. I feel, while nothing can replace the thrill of seeing Swami physically in person, anytime a new bhajan has been inspired by him, of course, anytime I've wanted to compose a bhajan, if I sit with a harmonium trying to compose something with words, it never works out. It turns into some mishmash of tunes and words. But it's only when he wills, in the most awkward moments, in the most uncertain moments, that these bhajans are born. And so it's in those moments of bhajan, and those moments when we connect with Swami through music, that I find my strongest connection with him. And I can trace this back, of course, to my mother and my paternal grandmother. When I was born, actually, I was born with a few congenital heart defects, and I had to undergo surgery as a 2-day-old, 3-day-old child, and again as an 8-month-old child. And with Swami's grace and with the blessings of my parents and prayers of so many Sai devotees all over the state of New Jersey and around the country, I was completely cured of all of the issues. And with Swami's grace, I'm able to lead a completely normal life, serving him and singing his glory day in and day out. And I'm so grateful for that. But going back to that experience, of course, a lot of this is narrated to me by my parents because I have no working memory of this. So at 8 months old, I had this surgery wherein they had cut across my chest to fix the walls between the different chambers of the heart. And so they had to do an open heart surgery to go in. And still to this day, I have a scar that runs down the front of my chest. And so as I grew older, 2, 3 years old, and I started gaining my senses, I would ask my mom, "Hey, what is this line that's going down my chest? What does this mean?" Because of course, it seemed to be like something quite abnormal, and so I would ask her, "What is this?" My mom, short backstory, is a very devout follower of Lord Hanuman. My mom comes from a strong Vaishnavite family, and her first introduction to Swami was through her marriage with my father. And so, of course, eventually she became a devotee of Bhagawan Shri Sathya Sai Baba by reading his books. And at one point, my family wanted to. I'm the youngest of 3 siblings. My eldest sister is 10 years older than me. And when she was about maybe 5 or 6 years old, my parents wanted to matriculate her into the Sri Sathya Sai Primary School in Puttaparthi. And so my mom had taken my sister to Parthi for an interview and the entrance exam and everything. And though by then my mom had started developing faith in Swami, it wasn't completely there yet. And the one figure that she recognized was the 65-foot statue of Hanuman that had just been newly installed back in the day. And so she sees this statue, and to her, Hanuman has always been somebody very near and dear to her. And so she saw the statue, and back then the ashram was pretty open and you could roam around freely. And so she went up the hill while my sister was taking the entrance exam. She goes up the hill and sees Hanuman. And, she's in a daze. What if my daughter gets accepted to the school? I'll have to leave her 10,000 miles away, across the world, away from home. Who is going to take care of her? Of course, end of the story is my sister ended up not going to Swami school and came home. But of course, my mom was going through those motions and feeling that angst of potential separation. And so she prayed to Hanuman, because that was the only recognizable figure to her amongst all the different deities from the different religions there. She prayed to Hanuman saying, if this Sathya Sai Baba is God, let water fall in my hands just this instant. She made this heartfelt prayer to Hanuman. And this was a bright sunny day in the hot Indian summer in the month of April in the Rayalaseema district, where there is literally no sign of rain. She prayed to Swami, prayed to Hanuman, Lord Hanuman, and suddenly in that moment, a giant drop of water fell on her hands and she took a sip of it. And to her, that was her indication that Bhagawan Shri Sathya Sai Baba truly is God incarnate. And her connection between Hanuman and Swami was very strengthened at that time. And so when my mom was actually pregnant with me, she had this prayer, because by then she was so devoted to Swami. She had one prayer that, dear Swami, whatever child is born to me, please let that child be your devotee. And she kept praying to Swami that let the child that is going to be born to me be like Hanuman, who is constantly there to sing your glory and to serve you. And so she would make this fervent prayer to Swami every single day throughout her pregnancy. And then, of course, I was born with all these heart defects. And as parents, they were very nervous. And when they did the surgery when I was 8 months old, my mom had brought with her a small container of vibhuti packed in a vitamin bottle, specifically because I was a naughty kid at 8 years old, naughty baby. And my mom feared that if I got the bottle in my hands, I would open it and it would all spill. So she put it in a medicine bottle with the child safe lock. And so she brought the vibhuti to the preoperative area, and she applied the vibhuti to my forehead and on my chest, and I caught hold of that bottle and I started playing with it, and somehow I was able to get through the child lock. And as narrated by my parents, all the vibhuti actually fell on my chest in the shape of Om. And to my parents at the time, that was Swami's indication that he would be there to save me, which he really truly did. And so fast forward 2-3 years, I'm asking my mom, what is this scar on my chest? And so my mom, who by now is very devoted to Swami and Hanuman, she goes to a Ramayana Saptaham and buys this picture of Hanuman where he is ripping across his chest. And inside we have Rama, Sita, and Lakshmana there. And she put this picture of Hanuman right above my bed, and it's still there at home today. And when I would ask her as a 3-year-old child, Mom, what is the scar on the front of my chest? She would say, see, just like Hanuman has this cut across his chest, you too have that same cut across your chest. And she would say, whose work did Rama do? Whose work did Rama do? And whose work did Hanuman do? Whose work did Hanuman do? And in my baby voice, I would respond saying, Rama. And then she would ask me, whose work will Rushi do? And in my baby voice, I would say, Baba. And so she instilled in me this consciousness of Sai from a very young age, and I'm so grateful for that gift from my mother. Fast forward another 25, 26 years, and just recently there was a video put out by by Radio Sai, and they're talking about various parts of the ashram. And this one particular video, they are talking about the Hanuman statue, which is right outside Sai Kulbanthal, with the Rama, Sita, Lakshmana statue on top, and there's a Hanuman statue on the bottom there. And the whole story was focused on this statue, and I only came to know of this just maybe 3-4 months ago. So this video is about this statue, and this statue, Swami named the statue as the Bhajan Hanuman statue because this was offered to Swami by Subramaniam Chettiar. He ran the Sathya Sai Paduka Trust in Madurai, and they would organize these annual Paduka Pujas for Swami. And every year, to celebrate the Paduka Puja, they would install a new deity statue somewhere in the ashram. And so that year, Swami had personally asked him to bring a statue of Hanuman. And that year also they had done, this was in 1995, they had done a Likhita Japam of 70 crores because it was Swami's 70th birthday. So 700 million times writing of Om Shri Sai Ram by people from all over the world. These books were collected and put in an underground vault right outside the then newly built Sai Kulwant Hall. And Swami said, to protect the power of these names, we need to install a Hanuman statue. And Swami, in an interview with Subramaniam Chettiar, actually posed as the statue holding the two kartals, or the musical instruments that build the statue like this. This should be the Bhajan Hanuman statue. And even before all of this happened, Swami gave the date of installation for the statue. Swami said, install the statue on the Shukla Panchami day, the day after Ganesh Chaturthi, on Shukla Panchami day in the month of Bhadarva. And this should be on August 31st, 1995, with his installation ceremony. I came to know of this just 3-4 months ago. Lo and behold, my mom has, before I was born, has prayed to Swami for a devotee, that may a devotee be born to her. She has shown me that, this scar that I have still till date running across my chest is nothing but an indication that Swami is sitting in my heart, just as Rama is sitting inside the heart of Lord Hanuman. I was actually born on that same day, August 31st, 1995. And my life's greatest passion, the one way that I connect with Swami, has always been through bhajans. And it all came full circle that Swami is there for us at every single moment of our lives, that he is always there. He truly is, just addressing him as my Guru, God, and best friend, I truly mean, and I hope that one day I can live up to actually, meaning those words from the bottom of my heart. Because though I've just spent the last 1 hour talking about how Swami is my Guru, God, and best friend, I have just maybe experienced the small one atom of the iceberg. There's so much more left to experience, let alone even understand Swami's life and his glory. And so with so much gratitude to him, and gratitude to all of you for this beautiful opportunity to share a little bit of my love for Swami, and with all of you, I offer my sincere thanks and gratitude, and I end giving glory to his divine name. Jai Bolo Bhagawan Shri Sathya Sai Baba Ji ki Jai.